It's a real pleasure to be here with you today, and thank you, IMAA, for the invitation. I'm sorry about my croaky voice. I have had a PCR test and I'm COVID negative. So small businesses like ours have been through a lot in the last few years. Like many of you, we in Outdoor took the time to improve what we offer. Survival has sharpened our focus, and we have bounced back with new tools and metrics, making it easier for you to plan and buy and measure your out-of-home campaigns. To ensure that what we built was credible, accurate, and actually filled a need, we collaborated with the MFA's Outdoor Futures Council, made up of clients and agencies, and in fact chaired by an indie, Pia Coyle, who's here today. Our hope was to please outdoor enthusiasts who use us regularly, and to spark an interest in those who don't normally think about out-of-home, to show them that we can deliver both impact and ROI. While our signs are big and our reach is just as great as TV and online, we are still only a small slice of the media pie, with about 7% of media share overall. In dollar terms, that represents $1 billion annually. The evolving media landscape over the last decades has seen us graduate from 6th to 3rd most bought media channel in agency land. Key to this success in moving up the ladder has been evidence-based metrics. Since the launch of Move in 2010, providing credible proof has been an essential part of the outdoor industry's DNA. Everything that I'm showing you today is backed by research. We also have training on each of these topics, so please contact the OMA or any of our members if you are interested in knowing more. This bounce back presentation covers the top 5 things that you need to know about out-of-home. I'm sure you all know a lot about out-of-home. While each point stands alone, where the rubber really hits the road is when the 5 points coalesce. So let's start with number 1. All it takes is a glance. Like love at first sight, all it takes is a glance. But can that glance actually be enduring? In 2019, we partnered with Neuro Insights to look at what happens in our brains when we glance at a static or digital sign. Let me show you a short clip that explains our research in more detail.
2 years in the making, a nationwide study of everyday Australians going about their typical journeys. We studied 2,050 people and their interaction with outdoor signs across every format. Classic and digital, which amounts to over 1 million data points. We constructed video journeys as typical everyday experiences. Eye tracking determined when the person glanced at each sign, and the resulting neurodata reveals the moments that are encoded into long-term memory and the strength of the emotional response. The combination of eye tracking and neurodata provides a granular analysis of the passive real-time impact of out-of-home signs. Here is a typical response to a classic sign. The peak responses determine the power at which certain moments are encoded in the brain. We then looked at a response to a digital sign. We see an even greater neuro response. A digital ad triggers a 63% higher level of impact. Looking at the brain specifically, the impact of a digital sign is even more visible. Digital drives a higher impact on memory and emotion. The data shows that outdoor advertising's power and effectiveness can be quantified and used to plan campaigns. It's called the Neuro Impact Factor. The Neuro Impact Factor is an algorithm made up of memory plus emotion and is multiplied by peak moments that strongly correlates to real-world sales. In Move 1.5, both classic and digital will have a neuro impact factor, giving you a qualitative metric alongside reach and frequency to help you plan campaigns. Because now, with the help of neuroscience, we can measure when an ad is encoded to memory, providing undeniable proof of the neuro impact of out of home.
So what you're seeing on the screen is the average of all responses to seeing out-of-home advertising on both classic and digital signs. The logical extension of our findings is that we need to put them to work in combination. Both offer opportunities to build your brand and increase impact and effectiveness. Classic building your brand message, while digital can be used more tactically with context, relevancy and immediacy. I am pleased to announce that the Neuro Impact Factor is now part of Move 1.5, which was launched in January this year. But what does this mean for you? It means that you can hone in your campaign strategy to choose across our network of classic and digital signs, while also guiding your decisions on what formats deliver the right audience coverage and impact. I could spend this entire presentation on the Neuro Impact Factor, but as there is a time limit, I will move on. But please get in touch if you want to know more about our neuroscience project. So moving on to number 2. Part of our bounce back is to make out-of-home easier to buy, and one of the tools that we have introduced is standardisation. Ubiquity is our strength. With over 100,000 signs across the nation, your message can be broadcast to the right people at the right time and in the right place, using a variety of formats and environments and locations, from large and small scale roadside billboards to train concourses, from shopping centres to cafes, gyms, university and office buildings. We are always on everywhere. With all this on offer and more innovation in the pipeline like programmatics, it's critical for the industry to make the channel easier to transact. And it's to this end that we have developed a set of industry standards. These standards give you a consistent out-of-home language. While terminology, geography and processes are important, to standardise, we're going further. We are currently working with the Outdoors Futures Council to standardise and automate our insertion orders, as well as digital campaign verification. We're also building an impression multiplier for programmatic audiences, which should be in market in Q3 this year. The most profound shift in our standardisation project has been changing the buying metric from share of voice to share of time. We have moved to share of time to more accurately represent digital campaign sales. What Move 1.5 factors into its audience impressions are a variety of inputs to measure how many ads are seen based on audience dwell time, play length, and time bought. We believe these changes will make out-of-home easier to buy. But what are you buying? So let's move on to number 3, broadcast and narrowcast. Out-of-home can broadcast to the masses and narrowcast to a target. Why? Because we reach 9 out of 10 Australians each day. These Australians make an average of 3.6 trips per person, which allows us to reach consumers of other media channels such as TV and radio and complement online and mobile. Ultimately, if you're looking for mass reach, outdoor is the answer, because we reach 12 million people in the 5 capital cities Move currently measures each and every day. Our digital transformation also gives us the flexibility to target and narrowcast, be it in contextually relevant content, Uber Eats on your commute home, or reaching people along the path to purchase, bread and meat on the way to the supermarket. Let me use a research study recently done in the UK by JC Decaux, Clear Channel and Posterscope to illustrate this point. Neuroscience was used to monitor the impact of contextually relevant digital out-of-home. What you see on the screen is the brain's response. Using a relevant moment, say ice cream on a hot day, increased brain response by 12%. Using relevant content, a Prada handbag at an airport, increased brain response by 18%. And both together, ice cream on a hot day outside a 7-Eleven, increased the brain's response by 32%. What we see in this slide is that there's a 17% increase in spontaneous ad awareness for relevant ads. So David Jones' ad outside a Westfield shopping centre, and a 16% increase in ROI when a dynamic element was included in the out-of-home creative. If there was one thing I could ask out of this presentation, other than that you buy more out-of-home, it would be to consider your out-of-home digital creative, especially in pedestrian spaces. Add dynamic elements to it, be it a few beads of sweat on someone working out, bubbles cascading from a glass of champagne. Anything small and dynamic makes a material difference to ROI. The research certainly points to this. Number 4, the jewel in our crown, our evidence-based audience measurement system. When we launched Move in 2010, we were the first out-of-home measurement system globally that measured all major formats, making it world-class for its time. As digital is now more than half the industry's revenue, we have upgraded Move to Move 1.5, very imaginative, which gives buyers audience measurement for our digital signs. Let me play you a small clip to show you what Move 1.5 now delivers.
We're living in an attention economy, exposed to a variety of advertisements every day. How can you ensure that people see your message and that your media choices are targeted and measurable? The answer is Move. Move is the world-class audience measurement system for the out-of-home industry. It's a highly developed system that uses evidence-based science to track visibility, exposure and attention as people travel to work, shop and socialise. Covering all the major markets and formats, we understand the unique features and locations of every sign, which means you can tailor your campaign for maximum exposure to your audience. The data in Move is gathered from land usage, the census, government household surveys, eye tracking and other third-party data sources such as public transport stops and timetables. This data gives us the granular detail of the millions of trips people take across all major markets in Australia on a typical day. Importantly, Move measures attention. We start with the sign's potential audience, the opportunity to see, OTS, using sign characteristics, size, location and visibility. And then we go beyond OTS and use eye tracking data to calculate likelihood to see, which pinpoints actual viewing. This forms the base of Move and has been updated in Move 1.5 to more accurately measure digital signs by including factors for rotating creative. We've done this by considering the duration of audience dwell and sign dwell for all signs, allowing us to measure impressions for each ad, which means that you know the real reach of your campaign. So now you can use Move 1.5 to plan campaigns for reach and frequency based on impressions and also impact. With our new Neuro Impact Factor that reports the impact of each out-of-home format across our entire network of classic and digital signs, putting in the palm of your hands for the first time ever the ability to uniquely measure your entire campaign, which makes Move 1.5 the most robust and accurate audience measurement platform in Australia. Now that's worthy of attention.
And there's more to come. We're building Move 2.0, which will have more granular audience added to both classic and digital signs. We've extended our measurement to cover regional Australia, giving you a nationwide measurement for our 100,000 signs. It will cover all formats, including our place-based networks in offices, gyms, universities and cafes, and it will give you audience numbers on an hourly basis that are seasonally adjusted to account for things like school holidays and summer holidays. If you want to follow along with the building of Move 2.0, please let us know and we will add you to our advisory council. Number 5, last but by no means least. While out-of-home can be used as a standalone channel for some brands, its light shines much brighter as part of a media mix. A recent study conducted by Analytic Partners for OMA, our sister organisation in New Zealand, proves this. The study used a commercial mix modelling to measure how different elements in the marketing mix drive sales. The work was drawn from more than 50 studies across consumer packaged goods, finance, restaurants, retail and automotive. The results are definitive. Out-of-home plus TV plus online deliver the strongest media combination. In fact, a 31% lift on ROI indexed against a TV-only campaign. This is further reinforced by an IAB study which found that mobile and digital out-of-home drive store visits. This piece of research was based around one campaign that sought to increase the sales of gaming consoles. The client activated digital out-of-home within 8 kilometres of select retailers with a limited time price offer. Then they layered mobile ads, retargeting the people who passed the out-of-home sites and who were seen at any of the 4 key retailers where the consoles were sold. The findings showed a 127% uplift in visitors from those exposed to both out-of-home and mobile, a 69% uplift in visitors from digital out-of-home alone, and a 46% increase in visits from mobile alone. We believe that research like this confirms that out-of-home should be part of your media mix consideration. In summary, my friends, the 5 things you should remember. Out-of-home now measures impact. We have gone beyond attention to use indisputable science to measure the power of a glance. Number 2, we have made it easier to buy our channel, standardising the way we sell. Number 3, you don't have to splash cash. Out-of-home is a great channel for smaller brands as you can narrowcast and use us strategically, contextually relevance and the path to purchase being the key. Number 4, we aren't resting on our laurels. We can now measure your campaign results for both classic and digital to get reach and frequency and impact. And we're investing a further $17 million to upgrade Move 2.0, which will be in market in 2024. And number 5, out-of-home, when used strategically with other channels, particularly TV and online, is a great media multiplier. So if you want to broadcast to 12 million Australians each day or narrowcast to premium audiences at airports or main grocery buys in shopping centres, then consider out-of-home as part of your media mix. And don't forget that we have industry training on everything I've presented today, so contact the OMA or one of our members to book a more detailed session. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I look forward to seeing your brands on our signs.